Councillor Kurpjuweit, thank you so much for sitting down with me. We're here at the third day of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Convention in beautiful Ottawa, Ontario. Why does Cypress County need a representative at FCM this year?
Well, to quote our CAO, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And as you know, I've been a part of FCM for a long time. I'm a big supporter of what they do. And, I think that when you're involved in advocacy, you come to realize very quickly that, you may be, working with the federal government to try to find opportunities to work together or to advocate for funding. But, it's not always about what you get. It's about making sure that you provide a good balanced approach and viewpoint so that you're also making sure that you're not seeing the other municipalities that are pushing for things that aren't quite what you're looking for, getting everything they want all the time. You got to make sure that you're out there fighting for your best too.
And what are those issues? What are the issues that you're hearing about in Cypress County that are matching up with what's being talked about here in Ottawa at the FCM convention?
I think that the big conversation right now is always around oil and gas and resource development and making sure that we can get our products to market. That's something we hear about in Alberta all the time. When you get out here, it's important to have the conversations with other like-minded and non-like-minded organizations or municipalities that maybe don't understand quite the impact that it has, in Alberta, but also how it funds a huge part of this country. And so being able to sit down with different leaders from different communities and have those conversations, I think, is a good thing to do.
Now, as the former, if I'm not mistaken, former chair of the Rural Forum for a Federation of Canadian Municipalities, I speak to rural municipal leaders all the time, and I get a sense that oil and gas is very prominent to them.
Yeah.
But there's concern that FCM doesn't take that serious. In your past role as Rural Forum chair, do you feel like FCM heard and advocated for the oil and gas industry as much as they could have?
Yes. I think that this is, I maybe take a bit of a controversial role in this one or position sometimes, but the reality is that we're a big organization that has a lot of membership across the country, and the reality is that on one hand you have climate change and conversations surrounding that, and then you have oil and gas and exploration and responsible development, and you can have a conversation that involves both of them, but generally speaking, the people that are, hardcore oil and gas may be a little bit disappointed that their message is diluted a little bit. In the same hand, somebody that is hardcore on the climate change side of things, they might be a little bit frustrated that it gets watered down a little bit. The reality is that when you have a national voice that comes out, you're not going to necessarily have that same punch, but I've been involved in a lot of conversations around the board table where FCM has supported resolutions that would encourage the federal government to utilize and prioritize Canadian energy and responsibly developed oil and gas above all other foreign developed oil. And we recognize that it's important, and I think that there's just the fact that along with supporting that industry, there's certain caveats that are attached to it, responsibility, and there's a lot more education and messaging that can be done to help other municipalities understand how that works. For example, you go up into Fort Mac and you see what some of these oil sands are. It's an environmental cleanup in a lot of cases where it started off a long time ago with oil seeping out of the edge of the river, and now they're reinstating it. It's beautiful parks, and it's sometimes you see some of the pictures that are used a little bit more as propaganda, and it's not necessarily the true picture.
This year convention has a big rural theme to it. There's a Stronger Together theme, but
I'm
there's
feeling that.
A lot of conversation around rural issues, bail reform, resource access to market, whether it be in the States or other markets. What is the benefit of a rural municipality membership for FCM? Why is it important for rural members to continue to stay part of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, do you believe?
Yeah, again, it's democracy. We have the ability to come out here. We have a rural municipality. The bang that you get for your buck as a rural municipality is, honestly, it's far superior to, I think, what the urbans see. We have a system where every member has a vote, and every representative that is here has a vote. But municipalities are also charged, their membership fee is reflective of the size of their their organization and how many people they have, and so you have some communities that are paying $1,000, $1,500 for membership, and they have the same ability to meet with and impact other leaders and network and communicate and advocate for and speak to resolutions, put things forward. We just need to become engaged, and I think that sometimes we get lost in the vastness of the organization and we get overwhelmed. But the opportunity that we have to have a voice as a small community, like heck, Neil Como is a great example. Him and I have worked together. He took over for me when I left the role of rural chair. I'm coming from Cypress County, 6,500 people, and chairing the rural forum and speaking to the Prime Minister's office on behalf of all rural municipalities in the entire country. As a small-time rural municipality, that's a pretty amazing opportunity for a very small amount of money. To boot, you have the conference boasts 2,500 attendees. We've got people from all over the country. It's really the only time, other than Parliament, where you have elected officials from coast to coast to coast that meet up in one place and can actually talk about things that impact our country and nation-building projects. So it's make the best that you have, but the opportunity as a small rural municipality is amazing because you can use it to be at the top level very, very easily.
So you mentioned his name, so I'm going to play in the sandbox for my final question, and that is Prime Minister Mark Carney actually spoke yesterday at the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Convention. He spoke about home building. He spoke about working with municipalities. The Liberals are traditionally stronger in urban centers rather than rural settings. Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic about what the relationship with the new federal government and rural Canada, particularly even Cypress County, will be heading into this new Carney era of Canada?
So I'm going to actually take a page out of Elizabeth May's book this morning when she spoke. I don't know if you were there for that, but her comment was, I hope that Mark Carney is the best prime minister that we've ever had. I think that as Canadians, we should get behind our government. I come from very blue conservative country, and I also don't hope that our government is a mess. We've gone through 10 years of a lot of spending, a lot of chaos, and although it was a lot different than what a lot of people in my area were looking for, I'm hopeful that a lot of the things that he's brought forward, some of the house building, addressing that, the affordability side, we've got to do something. It's not good right now. I'm hopeful that we can still keep in mind the fact that a lot of these things require money. And the largest industry that we have in this country is in our energy sector. And it just seems like low-hanging fruit to not find a way to continually focus on this and really embrace the fact that we can be an international superpower when it comes down to responsibly developed oil and gas. And let's find a way to do that. Let's help that can help fund the nation building projects that he's talking about. I hope that things go well. As an advocacy group, we want to see our government and our country do well. And so to hope for them to fail would not be conducive to progressive growth. But my fingers are crossed. I'm hopeful. We'll see. Well,
Councillor Kurpjuweit, thank you so much for spending time with me. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Chris. You too.